Richard Allen, you child murderer! Why did you do it? Shame on you! Shame on you, Richard! You're going to prison for the rest of your life! Shame on you, Richard Allen!
People change over the years, and I haven't seen Ricky for a long time.
Welcome back to J is for Justice podcast. One of a series of videos on the Delphi murders. Richard Allen, hiding in plain sight. In this video, we're going to revisit everything that's come out about Richard Allen since his arrest. People that knew him from his hometown of Mexico, Indiana. Neighbors from Delphi, Indiana. And then we take a look at his confessions. And the most recent event, the sale of his home in Delphi, Indiana. Let's get into it. The shocking slayings of two best friends, Abby Williams, 13, and Libby German, 14, shocked the small Indiana town of Delphi. This case garnered national intrigue over the years. And for the first time, a year ago, in October of 2022, that was the first time a suspect was named in the mysterious double murder. And that man was Richard Allen. Richard Allen, who also goes by Ricky to his childhood friends and neighbors, grew up in this home in Mexico, Indiana. David Yoder lived right across the street. And not only was he a neighbor of Richard Allen, he's known him since he was a baby, and he grew up with Richard Allen's dad.
He was all around good, normal, everyday family. Yeah. There was nothing out of the ordinary about it. I never thought living across the road from him there was anything. That's where I would sent my kids to if there had been any trouble. It's just hard to believe. He's a heck of a nice guy. Always has been.
Prior to moving to Delphi, Indiana from Mexico, Richard Allen lived in this home with his wife and daughter. Richard Allen's parents still live in Mexico. And neighbors say they're very nice people. However, some have very legitimate questions. How could they not know that is their son in the Bridge Guy video?
I honestly just don't know how his parents could not, I don't know how they could not know.
That video had to be played on all the local news stations when it was released. Would you not know your own son in a video? I feel like I would. What do you guys think about that? According to dispatch records, Richard Allen had one encounter with police in 2015 where he was drunk and his wife took him to a local hospital, and then deputies came to the house to, quote, keep the peace. Before we leave the Mexico, Indiana neighborhood of Richard Allen's childhood and first part of his adult life, one thing I love, even though this guy's known Richard Allen since he was a baby, this is what he had to say. If Richard Allen is guilty.
And if he did do it, he deserves to fry.
So this is a map, Google map, of the distance between the home of Richard Allen and the High Bridge area where the two girls were murdered in 2017. 34-minute walk, 1.7 miles away. This is Richard Allen's home right here on Whiteman Drive.
According to property record reports, Richard Allen purchased his home in 2006 in Delphi, Indiana for $81,000. Richard Matthew Allen, 50 years old, was arrested on October 28, 2022 for the 2017 slayings of Liberty German and Abigail Williams. The bodies of the two girls were found in a rugged area near a hiking trail on February 14, 2017, one day after they vanished during a day off from school. What's really interesting is 10 days before Richard Allen was arrested, authorities conducted an all-day search, 12 hours long. Non-uniform officers searched Richard Allen's home, which he shared with his wife Kathy, according to neighbors, for about 12 hours. A neighbor said, quote, "They were definitely snooping around a lot at the fire pit and at the backyard, with lots of flashlights, lots of pictures, and lots of sifting." A few neighbors spoke with the New York Post and said they would have never imagined that it would have been Richard Allen who would have committed these horrible crimes in their little town. He had helped many of them at the local CVS, where he was a registered pharmacy tech.
I was actually really shocked, and I've dealt with the gentleman several times. I go through the drive-through a lot, and he was actually, helping people through the drive-through window. You wouldn't even consider him being a suspect or anything, as friendly and everything as he was.
Another witness who didn't want to be named to the news stated that they saw Richard Allen smoking outside the pharmacy door.
Somebody living here, that thought had crossed my mind just like anybody else's that lives around here.
The home is less than 2 miles from the Carroll County Sheriff's Office and the scene of the homicides. Neighbors didn't answer knocks on their doors or posted keep out signs in their front yards.
I don't see how he could actually go all this time and keep a straight, normal face and represent himself the way he has. Walking around, even right there in the store there where he was working. The photo is right there by the window.
Investigators did come out and talk about the things that they found in Richard Allen's house during that search. Some of those items seized from Richard Allen's home was a handgun, several bullet cartridges. They also seized 13 different knives in this search, as well as shoes, several pieces of clothing, numerous electronic devices, including old cellular phones, as well as a chunk of carpet that they cut out of his car. Now let's fast forward to 2023. In April of 2023, Richard Allen reportedly confesses to these crimes after entering a not guilty plea in court. He confesses to his wife on the phone, but there's also rumor of other confessions.
I will tell you that is good stuff for a homicide detective, that kind of thing, where you have a person making an admission, especially over a recorded jail line, to a family member or to whomever. That's priceless. That's an affirmative link that cannot be denied. He's not being in an interview room. He's not talking to law enforcement. He's not talking to anybody that would have any particular leaning in the case. He's just talking to a family member, talking to his wife here, and he comes down and he starts making these admissions. And he's like He's like many of the people that I've talked to in the interview room. Once they get it out that first time, then they can't keep their mouths shut.
Paired, but you know, the thing with these jail calls that really get these people, it tells you that it's being recorded. And I don't know, I mean, some of them are very vain, so I'm surprised that they think that no one's going to be listening to it. But they listen to it. Finally, with the fact that he, committed these crimes years ago and is finally getting it out, he may want to plead guilty. In that case, they don't need to keep anything out because he's just going to plead guilty. But if now he's going to say that he never said that or he meant something different, the defense is up for a fight. Part of me feels like he did that because there's more, maybe not only to this story, but there's, like a larger criminal enterprise at play here.
Could you say that again, Rachel?
Maybe not only to this story, but there's, like a larger criminal enterprise at play here.
That's what I thought you said. In June of 2023, it was released that prosecutors alleged that Richard Allen, while in custody in Westville Correctional Facility, confessed 5 or 6 times, not just once. And defense attorneys back in June didn't dispute the allegation during a hearing, but they argued that the confessions were unreliable because of Allen's deteriorating mental and physical health. Also at that same hearing, it was reported by the Daily Mail that as Richard Allen entered the courtroom, he completely ignored his wife, Kathy. And he hasn't done that in the past. So after he confessed to her on the phone, she abruptly hung up. These phone calls were recorded. But as he went into court that day, he ignored her. She burst into tears. 2 things that I definitely wanted to mention in this video. One thing that I definitely wanted to make sure I mentioned, but I don't want to focus too much on, is Richard Allen's daughter's photo on the Moden High Bridge, seemingly at the very exact spot posing for a picture where Abby and Libby were directed down the hill. The other was this photo of Richard Allen and his wife Kathy in a local bar. You clearly see the younger person's sketch on the wall behind him. He looks pretty happy knowing that that sketch doesn't look like him at all. Lord only knows what Richard Allen's wife is doing with herself at this point in time. But according to public records, she has sold their home on Whiteman Avenue. The very home that was raided in the murder of 2 Delphi teenagers. The listing read, "Rare find. This is the perfect ranch with a large lot to call home, and it could come almost completely furnished. Sofa, love seat, recliner, less than 2 years old. Lawnmower, master queen bed, dresser with mirror, tall dresser, 2 nightstands, and washer and dryer could all be included in this sale. Some newer updates in this home include a roof in 2019, vinyl tile flooring in living room, kitchen, laundry, and a new furnace and AC in 2012. The lot provides plenty of room to enjoy the outdoors as well. Come and take a look for yourself. But what was super creepy? Look at the name of the real estate company that listed their home. True Blood Real Estate. You can't make this stuff up, folks. I'm sure you all are super disappointed that you didn't hear about this listing sooner so that you could lounge in Richard Allen's recliner or sleep in Richard Allen's bed or maybe have breakfast at the same table that Richard Allen sat and had breakfast at. I wonder if she sold all of these furnishings along with this listing. If you remember in the beginning of the video, I showed you that they paid $80,000 for the house. She sold it for $255,000. And the final Creeptown dude point on this whole house sale that I noticed is how close he lived to the Delphi schools. I want to thank you guys for listening to this video. Hopefully you learned something that you didn't know about Richard Matthew Allen, the suspect in the Delphi murders. If there's anything I missed, let me know in the comment section below. Let's keep this conversation going. And this is the first video in a series that I'm going to be putting out on the Delphi murders. So make sure that you are subscribed, click the notification bell for all, and I'll see you in the next video. Be sure to check out my other videos and playlists for more true crime content. And if that's not enough, you can join our Patreon. Don't have a tinfoil hat? It's okay. We'll make you one. It's that easy. See you guys in the next video.
See you later. Bye.